see how we can deploy website on Azure. When you use Azure, there are two options. You have Azure App Services and you have Azure Static Apps. So when you use Azure App Services, you can see in the deployment center, you can use FTP credentials, or you can also provide your source code. So these are the primary two options for deploying it. So let's see how these two options work. So when you are using FTP credential, you will see your FTP server username and password, and using this you can deploy. How does this work? Install FileZilla. In the host, provide your FTP server. In the username, provide your username, and in password, provide your password, and do quick connect, and then you'll be able to connect to FTP server. And here you can see under the site www root directory is your website is there, and from your local you can now move the files to your remote server, and now your site is ready. So it's very simple. Use FTP or use FTP to copy files from your local system to your remote server or web server. The other option is you use GitHub, and the way it works is in the source control specify what is your where you are storing your code. For example, if you are using GitHub, select your organization and then choose the repository you have, and for example, I have many repositories. I can choose the repositories and then the branch, and now it will set up a workflow. So whenever you will update your GitHub, whenever you will do the git push, this workflow will kick in and it will take your latest code. So both the options work seamlessly. So quick thing to note is so two methods to deploy file, either use FTP or Git. My recommendation is you should be using FTP whenever you need to deploy HTML pages, images, CSS. FTP is better, specifically if you are building static site and it has HTML pages. FTP is more suitable. Whenever you are using source code, and you anyway should be checking in source code and Git, at that time it's better to use a GitHub. Both method works. Sometimes even if you are using React, you may be able to generate HTML file or your public file, and you can push it through FTP. So both method work, but this is my personal recommendation, that use FTP for HTML file and use Git for wherever you need to use source code. Few related things to note. This works well. Both the options work well when you are using Azure App Services. If you are using Azure Static App, it only provides you the Git option. It doesn't give you FTP option. So then you have to use Git even if you are using HTML file. And I believe the underlying reason is the static apps are stored on storage bucket or blob storage. So there is no place to do FTP. And that's the reason Git is the only option there as of now. So both these methods work, and if you need to automate it, you can automate FTP also. For example, you don't want to open FileZilla every time, and you can simply write a script like this, that okay, open my FTP server, add user ID password into it, and then CD to the directory you want to go to on remote server. LCD is a local directory, and then you have it will input all the files you want to put it there. So you can write some script so that every time you change your file, you need not have to do FTP, specifically if you are generating HTML file the way we do. So we use such script to automatically deploy it. CI/CD also work. So if you are using static app, just check in the HTML file and it will automatically deployed. Their CI/CD pipeline is by default available when you use Azure Static App. So both these options work. I hope this video was helpful. We'll discuss more on building React site as well as Firebase site in next video.